Aloha, welcome back to KTA Kitchens. This is Chef Maka and today we're gonna make spaghetti with meatballs and pomodoro sauce. But first off, we have to make the sauce, which we're gonna have. I have all my ingredients right here. Four 8-ounce cans of whole plum tomatoes or roasted tomatoes or tomatoes in a can. We got about a cup of fresh basil. Smells really good. Salt, pepper, about 4 cloves of garlic that we're gonna slice, and 1 onion which we're gonna julienne. And red wine, if you have some, is optional to deglaze our pan. So here we go. I'm gonna slice the garlic. Don't cut your fingers off. Slice nice and thin. If you don't want to slice it, you can mince it if you want also. I like to slice it. And then we're gonna julienne the onion or slice the onion. Okay, here we go. And if you don't take the skin off, yeah, it will make the sauce bad. So take the skin off. And julienne 1 onion. I have a pan behind me that's already warming up, and I have some blended oil, which is half canola and half olive oil, which we're going to saute our vegetables into it. This is a great dish. I make this dish all the time with my family, and they always tell me, "Can you make the spaghetti and meatballs again?" All right. Okay, here we go. So we got the oil in the pan, and we got the pan on. We're just going to bring all these ingredients to our pan. We cook our onions and garlic together, and I'm going to season with some salt and pepper. Some black pepper, and some shallot. And when this gets nice and golden brown, we're going to add our tomato sauce to this. Our onions is almost there, or they actually are there. And we're going to grab this wine here, this red wine, and we're going to pour it into our onions and garlic to deglaze our pan. Ooh, that's sweet sound of music right there. Okay, and we're just gonna cook some of this wine down, and what this wine is gonna give this nice fruitiness to our sauce. We're almost there. With about a couple more minutes to reduce our wine, concentrate that grape flavor, and we're gonna add our tomatoes to it, and it's gonna be wonderful. It's like beauty. And all of our tomatoes go inside. Okay, here we go. All of them inside. We're gonna let this cook down for at least half hour. We want to get all this flavor mixed together. And we're going to go back and re-season it with salt and pepper to taste it again. And add our fresh basil right at the end. Okay? Now let's start making some meatballs. We're going to make our meatballs, guys. Super simple. 2 pounds of the ground beef. We got a medium onion that's been diced. 4 garlic cloves that's been minced. About a cup of chopped parsley. Some Italian breadcrumbs. Half a cup of Parmesan cheese. 1/4 cup of mozzarella. 4 whole eggs. Salt, pepper to taste it out. Simple as that. Another thing, there's asking me, you know, breadcrumbs, a lot of breadcrumbs. We're probably not going to use all the breadcrumbs because our beef is lean. This is about 8% lean beef. If you want to get a fattier beef, use more breadcrumbs. It's really up to you. And the breadcrumbs we actually make is in-house. And if you don't have any own breadcrumbs, you can buy them at KTA. All right, let's do this. Onions in a bowl. Onions in a bowl. This is the fun part. You can have your kids come out and mix it for you. Garlic in the bowl. Parsley in there. I'm not going to use all the cheese. Maybe some more. All right, I'll use all the cheese. All the ricotta cheese. I'm going to use about maybe a teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon of black pepper. And about a couple tablespoons of salt right now. Only for now. After, we're going to make a little patty and we're going to taste it. Okay? 4 egg yolks. Here we go. It's gonna be fast. Okay, and the breadcrumbs. Like I said, don't put them all in yet. If it feels really dry, you put too much. So put a little bit at a time. All right, and I'm not gonna squish everything together. I'm actually gonna fold it, because if you squish it together, I've noticed the meatballs get really hard. You know, so we don't want to squish it together. We want to just fold everything together. Okay. You hear that sound? That's the bowl moving on the table. I'm going to keep it straight. Okay. That's my cooking music. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but it seems like the meat is really wet. It's actually not that wet. The breadcrumbs that we made in the kitchen, that we took old bread from the day before, we dried them out in the oven, and we just pulverized them overnight. It feels wet, but it's not that wet. It's that cheese and the egg yolk in there. It's not really wet. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. And this is fun to me because I make this at my family's house, you know, and they're all like, oh, can you make the spaghetti meatballs? I'm like, really? I'm like, if you make the pasta, I'll make the meatballs. But they love it because it's simple and it's easy, and you can eat the next day for like your sister-in-law would take it to work, you know, like the next day, and everyone in the office goes, oh, how'd you make meatballs? So now we have all the vegetables and the parsley and the cheeses all mixed up in our meat. We gotta taste it. Before you make the meatball and you make like 20 of them and you cook them, you're like, there's not enough salt and pepper. You wanna grab a little patty and put it in a frying pan, which I have here. We're only doing this so we can taste it. Our final product is gonna be inside our sauce later on, but we wanna make sure the meat has a lot of salt and pepper flavor. Let's taste it if it has enough salt and pepper. No, we're gonna need more salt and pepper. Sprinkle more salt. And I don't know if you guys notice I'm using kosher salt. I'm so used to it in the restaurant. But if you want to use regular salt, it's fine with you, you know, just whatever salt you have in your home. Right. Now from here, guys, let's make our meatballs. We're just going to do them in about a little bit bigger than a golf ball size. About this big, perhaps. You can do any size you want. You can do small, you can do bigger. I like them doing bigger because they look fun. You know, you can have more one and you can get filled. Or you can put them in like a meatball sandwich in the next day. And you can make them, don't have to worry about if they're nice and pretty. In the restaurant, we do them nice and pretty. But at home, do them like Charlie Brown's head, like different sizes. Okay. We got our meatballs already rolled out. We got our oil about a ½ inch in our saute pan. You can use a skillet, you can use a big pot, either which way. One thing, make sure you don't overcrowd your pan with the meatballs. And don't keep on touching it, let it cook. Okay, so I got it on about medium-high heat, and I can see the oil bubbling already, so I'm ready to go. Don't drop them in, just place them in, okay? Watch out for the popping. And at this point, let it go. Let it cook. Do not touch it. Let it slowly roast. Our meatball has been cooking for about 2 to 3 minutes on one side. Now we're just going to gently flip it. See that color, that golden brown color? That's what we want. We're going to sear in our juices and finish them inside our sauce later on. Yummy. Meatballs are done. Now we're just going to transfer them into our pomodoro, which has been simmering here for about ½ an hour or so. Here we go. Do, 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 plop. Okay, dokie. Okay, I have them all inside the pot. And we're simmering for about ½ an hour, and we'll come back to it later. All right. Okay, guys, our meatballs are done. I mean, look at that. Look at the steam. Look at that. Woo, looks terrific. My pasta, simple. Hey, everybody's know how to make pasta, right? Hot water, put a little bit of salt, put your pasta inside, you're done deal. So I'm going to put some on my plate here. Oh, my goodness. And I got some meatball. That's a big meatball. See, right on my plate. I got some of my sauce here. That was on my plate. That was back on. A little bit more of my sauce. And a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Yummy. Well, anyways, spaghetti meatballs. A great pairing with this, a nice Chianti, or a nice glass of red wine, or a nice Cabernet. The red wine, this hearty beef, you know, the tomato is very pungent. So this wine hopefully will cut right through it. Anyways, this is Maka Kwan with the spaghetti meatballs spaghetti from KTA Kitchens. Aloha. We'll see you next time. That's an oil meatball.